Today we're talking the best Quest 2 games you should be playing on AppLab. Keep in mind that these are paid games. I'll do a separate list for free games, and I'll make sure to put the price with each game. And first up, we're talking Guardians. Guardians is an awesome first-person VR shooter with some real-time strategy elements, allowing you to spawn structures and battle units to help you fight against the alien enemies. It's got a single-player or co-op campaign with 12 different levels on 3 different planets, as well as PvP modes. It's also got tons of community-created maps. The developer says this is a love letter to Halo and StarCraft, and you can definitely feel that as you play the game. If you're looking for a sci-fi shooter, especially one with co-op and multiplayer, this is the one you should be looking at. Next up, we've got Ancient Dungeon VR. This is a roguelite dungeon crawler that is an absolute blast. There's actually a free demo you can check out, links in the description before you buy this game, but I guarantee you if you play it, you'll want to buy the whole thing. It's got a really cool, blocky, pixelated art style, but don't let that fool you. As you play through these dungeons and this game, you'll discover an amazing and immersive and interactive environment that'll keep pulling you in and making you play run after run. You get to explore an ever-changing dungeon that is procedurally generated each time you load in, so I definitely recommend checking out Ancient Dungeon. Next up is ARK-ADE, which is a really unique game set inside of an old arcade machine, essentially. The art style is what really draws me to this game, with kind of an 80s arcade aesthetic. There is a demo for this game as well, and the link will be in the description if you want to check it out before buying the full version of the game. Next on the list is Deism. This is a god simulator where you get to start off and create your own world. Build your society or watch it burn as an angry god, whatever you decide to do. If you're into god simulator type of games, you're going to love this game. Trust me, it can be addicting and you could be really pulled into this game. This next game is an awesome experience, especially when you play it in multiplayer, and that is Pierhead Arcade Quest. Technically the sequel to the original Pierhead Arcade, this game has over 30 physics-driven arcade games across several rooms, and you'll be able to unlock them as you play through the games. Plus, you can actually earn tickets, which is one of the coolest things, and buy gifts in the toy gift shop, just like when you were a kid going and getting tickets at the arcade and trying to go to the counter, except for this time, you don't actually have to spend real quarters. You can get unlimited quarters and go play whatever games that you want. There's customizable avatars, and playing in multiplayer is just so much fun to explore this arcade. It's essentially a full-scale arcade with tons of arcade-style games, and I mean tons. There's lots of rooms. If you are a fan of arcades at all, Pierhead Arcade Quest is a joy to play. Next up is a newer game to AppLab, and that is the Atlas Mystery. This is an escape room mystery thriller set in the Atlas Theater. I played through this game a couple of weeks ago, and it is a lot of fun. A lot of really cool puzzles. The environment is really cool, and the story is fun. I love escape rooms, and this one had me captivated from beginning to end, and it's just a great time. Speaking of escape rooms, one of my all-time favorite ever escape rooms on the Quest platform is called Extreme Escape, and you can actually play it now on AppLab. I played it a very long time ago on the channel, back when Quest 1 was the thing. It's not the longest experience, but it is one of the most awesome escape room experiences that I have tried. You're essentially in an air balloon, and you have to try to escape the air balloon. The scenery is really cool. The feeling of height is definitely there. The environment just looks great. If you like escape room games and you don't mind paying $5 for probably a single playthrough, which might take you 45 minutes to an hour. It might be a little less, a little bit more. If that doesn't seem too high to you, then I definitely recommend playing it. For me, the experience of playing it just that one time is well worth $5. Next up is one of the highest rated games on AppLab, and that is Sport Mode. Sport Mode is a physics playground. It's not just that though, it's a lot more. There's so much you can do in here. There's arena modes, sandbox modes, everything in the game is physics driven, and it's pretty much up to your imagination. With the modifiers, you can attach things, you can add jetpacks, you can customize strength and speed, there's dismemberment. If you're not super creative, you might get bored pretty quickly because it's mostly about building what you want to do in the game and messing around. But if you're someone that likes to experiment, mess around, build your own thing, do your own thing, then this game will probably keep you busy for a very long time. Next up, we're talking Crisis VRigade. Now we've got Crisis VRigade 1 and 2. Personally, I like Crisis VRigade 2 better. I think that it's a much more fleshed out and better experience, but it's also more expensive. Crisis VRigade 1, the original, is only $5.99, which is a steal. And if you're a huge fan of light gun shooters, this is a very challenging one, and by very challenging, I mean punishingly challenging. A lot of people actually quit playing it, it's so hard. The second one is quite hard as well. I find it a little bit easier to play, but definitely still very difficult. They're both light gun shooters. They're both really fun, although Crisis VRigade 2 has a much more realistic art style. So if you want that instead of the more cartoony, blocky art style, go for Crisis VRigade 2. Next is a game that was actually originally on the Go, I believe, and that is Daedalus. This is by the developer of Red Matter, and it's a beautiful game. This is a platforming exploration type of game that really kind of has to be experienced to understand. It's just a surreal, really cool experience. It's something that if you haven't tried it, it's only $4.99, and I definitely recommend checking it out. Next up is Descent Alps. This is a really cool skiing game using full body motion as you ski down the mountain based on rhythm. This as well has gotten a lot of updates. There is a demo of this game as well. I'm not great at this game, but that doesn't mean that I don't enjoy it. It just means that I'm really bad at it. Next up is another game I featured on the channel a long time ago, and that's ARK-ADE. This is a really unique game. It's a turn-based VR RPG that has both third-person God view and a first-person combat system. As you're working your way through the world, you'll be walking around in a third person and seeing your character in that God view. As you interact with characters, you get upgrades, all this stuff. And then comes the dungeons, where you'll jump in and explore the dungeons in third person, and as you enter combat, it'll switch to a first-person view where you dodge attacks and use turn-based combat. It's actually a really unique way to play. It's a lot of fun. There are different classes to choose from, as well as different types of attacks and upgrades to level up your character. There's a lot going on, and it's a really unique and fun game to play. Next up is Gladius. This is a physics-based sword fighting game. It is listed as being currently in early access, so it does run into some issues here and there, which makes sense because it's early access. It is fun though, and if you're looking for a Roman sword combat game that'll have you fighting in arenas, this is a very fun game to play. Next, let's do a sports game and talk about Disc Bender's Ace Run. This is a disc golf. There are 4 full courses with over 45 holes to play. There are different discs to choose from based on distance and how you throw. It's got free play and career mode, plus it's multiplayer, which is pretty awesome as well. So if you're a fan of disc golf or you want to get into it, Disc Bender's Ace Run is a great way to do it. Iron Rebellion I featured on the channel actually pretty recently, and it's a really fun game. It is in early access, so it's not a full complete game with all of the mechs and all the maps and everything that will be in the final version of this game. Currently, there's a competitive 1v1 game mode called Data Breach. It's also got a social practice room with up to 6 players that you can jump into, and it's almost worth grabbing this game just to experience the virtual game controls. Turning on the mech the way that it turns on, controlling the mech, it's pretty fantastic, and it's really, really satisfying. So I really enjoy Iron Rebellion. Now, I know this sounds strange, but Car Parking Simulator is actually quite fun. This reminds me of one of those games you get on a mobile device where you have to park the car and do it perfectly, except for it's all in virtual reality. It feels actually pretty darn good as you're playing it. There's a total of 65 levels that you get rated on based on your driving and how you complete the challenge, with 3 different types of vehicles: sedan, SUV, and hatchback. And honestly, it sounds stupid, but it's actually pretty fun to play. Next, if you're looking for a multiplayer online shooter, Grapple Tournament is quite fun, actually. This is an arcade shooter designed for virtual reality where you use a grapple gun and 12 different multifunctional weapons to fight against your enemies. This is a multiplayer online shooter that is a blast to play. The art style is really cool with the cel-shaded art style. The weapons feel really good. Just overall, it's really fun to play. It's very fast-paced, so if you're looking for a fast-paced multiplayer shooter, Grapple Tournament is where you should be looking. This next game is kind of in early access as well. There's a limited number of levels in this game, but they are releasing more content, and the developer is continuously updating the game from the art to the sounds to the levels that are coming. Dead Second is one of my favorite light gun shooters. It just feels really good. It's got bullet time slow motion that allows you to dodge enemy fire, and you can chain together takedowns, allowing you to boost your score, the time, and the accuracy points. There's cosmetics, different unlockable guns. If you like light gun shooters and you're looking for another one, Dead Second is definitely one you should check out. Now this game, Shotwood, kind of feels like a spiritual successor to Gun Club in a lot of ways. This takes place in kind of a crazy facility where I'm not really sure what's going on, but you're going to go through combat simulation kill house scenarios, and you'll be shooting at wooden targets. Whether it's zombies or the wooden targets are shooting at you. There's different weapons you can buy, different levels you need to make your way through. Like I said, it feels kind of like a spiritual successor to Gun Club, even though it has nothing to do with Gun Club. If you're looking for a kill house game where you're not shooting actual people, you're shooting targets, kind of like Gun Club, definitely check out Shotwood. It's a really fun game. Next up is Iron Guard. This is a sci-fi tower defense game, and it kind of reminds me of some of the old-fashioned RTS games of the past. There are several different game modes with a single-player storyline that you can actually play through. The environments look really cool. So if you got that RTS tower defense itch, this would definitely scratch it. It's quite fun to play. It has a lot of content here from different missions, different levels. It's even got awesome music and a full voiceover cast, which is pretty cool and unique for an AppLab game as well. And there you have it. There are 20 games from AppLab that you should be playing. Keep in mind that this is not every single game I would recommend on AppLab. I'm going to do another video probably in the future talking about other games you should be playing, but this is a good 20 games to get you started. I did try to balance this list, not have too many shooters, not have too many puzzle type of games, so I'll probably make another list in the future with additional titles that you should be playing on AppLab as well. What do you think though? What is your favorite game or games on AppLab? Let me know down in the comments whether it was in this list, or if it wasn't, then let me know why I should check it out. And if you want to get the most out of your Quest and your Quest 2, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the bell icon for notifications. And you can check out even more of my videos right there on the screen. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe and happy questing.